Okay. So this is written, that is properties of suprinam or SUP, and infimum or INF of a set. So today I'll cover this up. Now, as in the previous class, I have given this in the first class. I think I have already defined upper bound, lower bound, and suprinam or sub, and infimum or in opposite. Okay, we just recollect it now. So always we are working with this subset of a real number set. Let S be is bounded by above. Now, what is that meaning? Uh, a suprinum is always concerned with the bounded above sets. A real number M is said to be the suprinum or SUP of the set S if the following conditions, two conditions, A and B, two conditions. Remember this. A and B, these two condition holds. So any number X within the set will be less than or equal to M. And second one is that for all epsilon greater than 0, there exists an element x0 such that if you subtract epsilon from M, so you will get a number, and that number, and within M there exists any x0. So x0 will be less than M minus epsilon. Okay. So this M is known as the suprinum. So every suprinum must have these two property. Then infimum, just opposite property, you see, and always related uh, with the lower bound. So x must be greater than equal to M. So M is the suprinum, and M plus epsilon will be greater than x1. Okay. So these two conditions, just you see, this A and B and this A, just reverse to each other. Okay. So uh, this is the definition of the, just recapitulation. Okay, next one. Now this is a very important theorem, that if there is any real non-empty set of real number and which is bounded below, so it must have an infimum. It must have. Okay. Actually, this set is known as the completeness axiom. We can completeness axiom. That is, if it is complete, then each subset of R has infimum. It must be, if it is bounded below, then it must have infimum. Okay. Let S is a subset of the R. Okay. And S is non-empty. So we construct the set S1. How we construct the set? Now we take those members of X such that S in R such that minus X belongs to S. Okay. So if it is 2, then minus 2 will be, if S belongs to S1, say 2 belongs to S1, then minus 2 belongs to S, so on. So now X belongs to S1, suppose any X, this X and this X, you can now change it, implies that minus X belongs to S. Okay. Hence, this set is bounded below. This set S set is bounded below. Okay. So minus x must be greater than or equal to m, where m is the lower bound of S. Then from this we can write that x is less than minus m, less than equal to minus m. So thus any member of, but x lies where? In S1. But minus x lies where? In X. So S1 is non-empty, and so S1 exists, implying that supremum of S1 exists because it is less than. Okay. So let M be that supremum of S1. Thus, any x belongs to S1 must be less than equal to that supremum M. And for each epsilon, what we have seen in the earlier property, you see, supremum property, this is less than x0. Okay. So y exists in S1 such that y is greater than m minus epsilon. I have written it in, that is x0 is greater than m minus epsilon. So here y is greater than m minus epsilon, and this implies that minus x will be greater than equal to minus m. Okay. And minus y will be less than equal to minus m plus e, and which confirms that m is the infimum of S. Okay. So starting from constructing S1, we came at that m is the infimum of S. Okay. But m is the supremum of S1. So this property of every non-empty set of real numbers which is bounded below, so this S is bounded below, has its infimum. Okay. So this property is known as the GLB property of R. Now suppose you have taken this GLB property of R as an axiom, then you can easily prove that LUB property of R is also an axiom. This, so in this form or in this form, the statement is known as the completeness axiom. Okay. So this is very important axiom. That's why important axiom. Now this is the bounded below set. So you must remember this completes the completeness order axiom. Sometimes it is called as axiom. Okay. Next, if A is non-empty set of real numbers bounded below, and if the set minus A is defined by like this, so that infimum A is equal to minus of supremum of minus A. This is again the same theorem, but in a slightly different language. I don't know in which form this language may come in the examination, so I have given this to a non-empty and bounded below, so infimum exists. Proof starts with the proof. Let A, this proof you can omit. Okay. Okay, আবার আসলো। Okay. Now this line, let A is non-empty set and infimum of A exists. Okay. So let M is the infimum of A. Then infimum of A means A, M, X will be greater than equal to M, or M will be less than equal to X for all X. And there exists at least one Y such that y is less than m plus epsilon for every epsilon level. From these two conditions, this is one condition and this is two condition, we get just uh, applying negation, we are getting this one. Okay, this means that the set minus a is bounded above. Also, there is at least one minus epsilon d minus y such that these two holds. So again, this condition and this condition yields this result. Hence, we get the infimum A is equal. It is just the reverse of the previous theorem. Just the same theorem, but stated slightly differently. Okay. So these two are called the completeness axiom. Okay. Let, now this is third one. Let A and B two non-empty bounded sets of real numbers with A is equal to sup A and B is equal to sup B. Let C is equal to a set such that it forms one element from X and another element from Y and just add it. You have to show that sup C is equal to A plus B. Now, this is very easy, but sup creates some algebra. So, inside the sup also creates some algebra. This is called addition. Now, by definition, X for A, all X, this holds, and for all B, this holds. So epsilon we have chosen. So A minus epsilon by 2 is less than G. G is any member, and B minus epsilon by is T, and T is any member of B. So from these two conditions, we get X plus Y is less than equal to A plus B for, just add these two here, for all X plus Y belongs to C and C is equal to what? That's it. So we also have this one for at least one G plus T belongs to C from this condition. So sup C is equal to A plus B. Okay. So this is also another very easy theorem, but you must know it. Now another formula is that sup and infimum of a set are uniquely determined. There's a uniqueness. So if there is not uniqueness, suppose let m is equal to sup s and small m is equal to infimum s. If possible, there are two sup, m and m1, capital M1, and m is not equal to m1. So sup is nothing but least upper bound. So m1, suppose m is, we are dealing with this m. So m is the least upper bound. So m1 will be less than m. But this cannot be sup. If this is sup, this cannot be a, okay. So again, m1 greater than m suggests that m is not a LUB of S. Hence, m must be equal to m1. So these two are unique. So a sup cannot be different for a set. Okay. So this is also very easy theorem. Now this is another one. Let S is contained in R. These are, I have not written anything theorem or just like this, but these are maybe some, maybe theorem. Okay, this is very important. Let S is a content in R be bounded set with LUB and GLB given by M and small m respectively. Okay. Let S1 is a subset of S and LUB and GLB as capital M1 and small m1. Then this condition you have to prove. Okay. So S1 is a, S is a bounded set. So S1 is a subset of S. So S1 is bounded above and bounded below. So it must have LUB and GLB exit. Okay. So it is, if possible, let just reverse one. So there is a number epsilon. And what is that epsilon? M minus m1 by 10. So corresponding to this epsilon, there exists some y in S1 such that this holds. Okay. This implies that y less than this one. Put epsilon value here, and this becomes this. And surely y is less than m, because this part gives you y less than m. But this is absurd, because y less than m, what is m? What is m? Because m is the greatest lower bound of S, and hence y belongs to S1, that is contained in S. So m must be less than m1. Hence, so y must be less than m. This cannot be. Okay. So this is an absurd. So if possible, let now. So this absurdity, uh, this is an absurd uh, assertion. Okay, it must be this. Next, if m1 is greater than n, then again do the same. You will again see that this is, you will reach an absurdity. Okay, and this is absurd. So t cannot be greater than m. So m must be less than m1, and m1 must be less than m. Okay, so this proof is also very necessary. Now another one is, let S and T be the non-empty bounded subset of R, bounded. Prove that union of S and T gives is equal to maximum of these two supremum of S or T, and infimum is this. So I have given you the only the proof for the supremum. Since S and T are non-empty bounded subset, so supremum S, infimum S, supremum T, and infimum T exists, because all of the sets bounded. So least upper bound, greatest lower bound of these two sets exists. Let S that is supremum of S is M1, and supremum of T is M2, and infimum of S is M1, and infimum of T is M2. So let X is less than equal to M1 according to the definition, and this X is for all X belongs to T. Okay, this line is clear. Now this implies that X is less than equal to M1 is less than equal to M for all X, and this also here, where M is the maximum between these two. Okay, so we have chosen capital M as the maximum of either capital M1 or capital M2. This means that X is less than equal to M for all X, either this or this. So X, this means X belongs to S union T. X cannot belong to this both, because in that case it will be an intersection. So either X belongs to S or X belongs to T. So it belongs to this union. So M is an upper bound of ACT. So we have to prove that. Now we have to prove that sup of S union T is equal to M. So this holds for this, but the supremum of S union T is equal to, we have to prove. If possible, let K is less than equal to M is an upper bound. K is less than equal to M is an upper bound. Supremum is the least upper bound. So there is no other upper bound which is smaller than K. We have to prove this contradiction. Since K is less than M, and m is maximum of this, so k is less than at least one of this m1 and m2. Since let k is less than m1, since k is an upper bound of SUT, so x less than k for all x, so x less than equal to k for all x belongs to S or T. You see here implies x is less than equal to k for all x belongs to S. So k is an upper bound of S, but that is a contradiction, because as k is less than equal to m1, and upper bound of m1 cannot be other than m1, and so supremum of S is equal to m1. Now, hence no real number is less than m is an upper bound of this one. Hence supremum of S unit T is equal to m, that is equal to this. So this proof there is two sets. Remember this fact, there are two sets. So S unit T, and here slightly confusion may arise here. Okay, slight confusion, but you think over it. There is some spelling mistake, I will correct it and send it to you. Okay, so it's very easy. Here also k is an upper bound of S. This from this, how x belongs to k for all x belongs to S union T, okay, implies that x is less than equal to k for all x belongs to S. If this line is not under, if it is, if you find any doubt here, just ask me. Okay, next one. Now this is an application. You have to find out the SUP and infimum of this set consisting of numbers. So numbers are this type: 2 to the power minus p plus 3 to the power minus q plus 5 to the power minus r, where p, q, r are positive integers. Okay. Members of the sets are given by this set notation. Okay, where I is the set of integers. Okay. So now I'm just giving you some examples here. For say p is equal to 1 and q is equal to 1 and r is 1, 2, 3, etc. So for r is equal to 1, first p is equal to 1 and q is equal to 1 and r is equal to 1. So this number. Okay. For p is equal to 1, q is equal to 1 and r is equal to 2. This number. Okay. Next, for p is equal to 1 and q is equal to 2. So this number. Okay. And for p is equal to 1, q is equal to 2 and r is equal to, before it was r is equal to 1 here, and but here now r is equal to 2. So you got how the numbers are looking like. Now we see that in general 1 by n to the power p is greater than 1 by n to the power q for n greater than equal to 1 and q greater than p. Okay. So this holds for every numbers, positive numbers, integer numbers. Okay. So which one is the highest? Invariably this one. because it's all its power is 1. Okay, so that is 31 by 30. And no member of this set is negative. So which one is the supremum? This one is the supremum. And infimum does not belong to this set also, but infimum S is 0. So the greatest lower bound is this one, and least upper bound is this one. Okay, so you have to, in this way, you have to find out the infimum and supremum of a set. Now another example. Find the sup and infimum of S, where S is given by this. Okay, S is equal to this set. 3x squared, all x look like this. Okay, so x is contained in R. So if you factorize this, it will get like this. Now this generates two conditions. Say 3x minus 1 less than 0, it must be less than 0. So this one is less than 0, this one is greater than 0. Or the opposite one. This one is greater than 0 and this one is less than 0. Now this one yields x is less than 1 by 3 and this one yields x is greater than minus 3. Or this one yields x is greater than 1 by 3 and x is less than minus 3. So in both cases, we can write that x lies between minus 3 and 1/3. Okay, so this is the final picture of the set. Next one, S is a bounded set. Surely S is a bounded set because its lower bound is minus 3 and upper bound is 1/3. Okay, positive 1/3. So 1/3 as upper bound. Let epsilon is greater than 0 by density property of R. As I told you in the earlier classes, density property means between two real numbers there exists an infinite number of real numbers. So this is a real number and this is a real number. So it contains at least one real number y, and y is contained in that set S. So this, but actually there are infinite y. So no real number less than 1 by 3 is an upper bound of S. Okay, that's called supremum S is equal to 1 by 3. Next, same property, no real number exists which between minus 3 and minus 3 plus epsilon. Okay, so minus 3 is the infimum S. Okay, so these two proof justifies your mostly other properties of the supremum and infimum comes from this knowledge. Okay, so this much is enough. I have given you some assignments. Let A and B are two subsets of positive real numbers, and let A is equal to supremum A and B is equal to supremum B. Let C is equal, let is a spelling mistake, I'll correct it and send it XY. So prove that supremum C is equal to A into B, that is supremum A into supremum B. Next, let A, B be two bounded sets of real positive numbers and C looks like this. You have to find out the supremum of C. Let S is equal to 1 by M plus 1 by M, and you have to find out the supremum S and infimum S. So in doing all these things, you have to prove first that the set from the conditions given on the sets A and B, that the supremum of C exists or supremum of S exists, infimum of C exists or infimum of S exists. Here also same. Now this number 4, S is the set. Okay, sorry, there is another printing mistake. Okay, now you have to find out the infimum and supremum. So first you have to show that S is a bounded set. Okay, then from this definition of the set, it is bounded. Then you have to show that supreme mass, what is the supreme mass and what is the infimum mass. Next one is that if S1 and S2 are both two bounded set real numbers, to prove that S1 union S2, you have to found is a bounded set. So that means here also in the printing mistake, S1 union S2, these are also a bounded set. Okay, so you have to prove this one. I'll send you just now. Okay, I have to work hard for preparing this. Now I'll correct it and send it to you. Now this was my today's lecture. Uh, today's what I thought to be present. Now you in the here you present. You send your name and roll number. Everyone, those who are present, only for 5 minutes. I will give you the time. Send you your name and roll number. All. Send it quick. Otherwise, I will leave. Send it quick as quick as possible. Okay, then I'm just stopping this one.